We are here at another unblinded real raw role play, and like there's a lot going on coming out of the green room. I'm talking about bobbleheads. I'm talking about comedians. I'm talking about a new generation of Gen Z hip hop. We're talking blessed. We're talking rock stars in the world of influence. Gene McNaughton coming back as a contestant. Last time he's like, I'm gonna rock the house. I'm gonna kick anyone's A. He didn't say that. I'm putting words in his mouth. Something tells me he is here to win. So Gene, I know we're gonna go through introductions, but what's up? How's your Why Wednesday, brother?
Wednesday is awesome. It's full of a lot of items on the list of which to get done. I'm focusing on time blocking and time management so that I can be a great dad as well as a businessman and get on and serve by joining these kind of webinars. It's awesome. Great job putting this together.
Right on, man. Well, thank you, for coming back and saying yes again and coming here. And I'm not going to lie, I am like ready to see you in your action. If it was like in integrity for me to place a bet, I know where I'd place my bet. And that's all I'm saying. Oh. And Ryan, what's up, man? You are like a comedian by night. You're a dude by day and like a rock star all the time. Like, what's happening, man? Besides the fact that you have a real Jesus bobblehead on the screen.
I am none of those things. I really transcend all labels is really how it works. And it's why I'm just the dude. I'm here to judge and see a conversion cage match. I'm here to see a persuasion punch. I'm ready to see the choke slam of conversion. I'm ready for this.
The tombstone of truth. You missed one.
Well, we'll add that to the repertoire. That was a good one. I saved that one for you.
Thank you. Well, I feel very heard and understood, brother. Alexia, you're here from Hollywood, I believe. You are like movie producer extraordinaire. I can't wait for Vivian to properly introduce you, but I'm curious, where is that smile from like cheek to cheek coming from?
You know what? I'm an artistic server of the universe. That's what I am.
Wow.
I love it. I love to shepherd and help artists all over the world thrive. So I'm so excited to be able to see the masters here battle it out and learn something, because I thought I was a damn good saleswoman, but hey, I'm ready to like see and learn from those great dudes.
Love it. And like we have Mike coming in here. Mike, Ryan holds like a non-real microphone mastermind. And something tells me if that was the truth, you would win with that microphone and those glasses. Like, what's up, man? Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Nice to see you, Fernando. Yeah, all of you. It's good. And Vivian. Go ahead. What was that, Gene?
I have to ask, Mike, what do we all look like without any blue light penetrating your retinas right now?
It's, well, the truth is I built a studio. That's what I work in. So I've noticed it makes a huge difference to have these on while I work, and it makes just a big difference in how I feel at the end of the day.
If you ever experience any blindness due to overexposure of blue light, I know a guy who can help with that.
Excellent. Let us pray. Let us pray.
Can you help with forms of blindness, that gentleman?
Yeah. He's here for you. Here for you, Sean.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Hey, so you guys ready to roll? We'll drop in.
Yeah,
ready to rock and roll.
Brother. We dropped in maybe like a minute ago. Everyone's been welcomed. We have everyone. We have the mayor of money, Long Daddy, Mac Daddy, Rob Gill. We have all our judges. We have Gene and Mike ready to duke it out. Rumor on the street is that Gene has some brass knuckles on. I'm just saying. But before we kick it off to some introductions, Sean, what's happening?
What's happening is I'm immensely grateful for these incredible folks that are here. Influence is a superpower. We're here to have like lunch meets dinner meets hanging out, getting to know incredible people, acknowledging, validating each and everybody, right? Connecting a little bit, sharing what's happening in the world. And then we're going to look at how like yeses occur with integrity as we add massive value, deep connections, et cetera, et cetera. So with that said, Vivian, are you in the house?
Oh my God, yes. It's so exciting. It's going to be a magical day.
So Vivian, are you ready to deliver some identities?
I am so ready. We have Gene McNaughton. He's the president of Growth Smart Consulting, keynote speaker, B2B sales expert, best-selling author of The Sales Edge. He has implemented strategies for organizations ranging from $2 million a year to $2.5 billion a year. Woo! He has taken his award-winning sales leadership strategies to a distinct level as he led the global sales force as vice president for the Anthony Robbins companies, shattering sales records for over 3 consecutive years.
Incredible.
Nice job. I need to hire you to do my intro everywhere.
Yes. That's to drop the mic action, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I didn't realize I was competing against one of the world's greatest marketers of all time in Mike Koenigs, so I'm a little stressed.
Well, Gene,
I'll tell you what, I'm feeling the nervousness and the love too, Gene.
so Mike, how are you today? Let's get a little
I'm a
Mike.
huge fan, as you know, Mike.
So
The same.
Let's
Yes.
share about Mike.
Okay, well, Mike Koenigs, he's an entrepreneur and investor. He helps experts build empires and personal brands. He's the host of Capability Amplifier podcast. He's a 13-time #1 best-selling author, marketer of the year, serial entrepreneur, angel investor, filmmaker, international speaker, and patented investor. I want to know what that is, by the way. Oh yeah, he is the
Could be
founder of
patented inventor, but that's okay.
but
There.
yes. He's the founder of the Superpower Accelerator, and he's also been featured on Forbes, Fortune, the Boston Globe, and CBS, just amongst a few.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, by the way, welcome. And what do you have a patent in? It's amazing.
It was in basically mobile tech, two-way interactive mobile text marketing with integrated IVR. So I used to have a software platform called Instant Customer, and we patented the underlying technology for that.
Super cool. Really grateful to have you here today. And
It's my pleasure. I'm a big fan of your work. Really, really impressed with your body of work.
Oh, brother. Well, I'm way more impressed by yours. And by the way, your bio, I'm a big James Bond fan. I think your bio is more extensive, adventurous, creative, and amazing, like what you've done, than like James Bond. So it's an absolute pleasure, because it's truly, truly crazy the things you've done in your life. And can I ask
Well,
this, Mike?
it's my pleasure to bring pleasure.
And Mike, why are you doing all this? Like, what's it all about for you? Because it seems nonstop, and like you keep going and creating amazing things. Like, what's it all about?
Well, I think there's a couple things. First of all, is I really believe we're at in a really important moment in human history where we're transcending the material world, the physical world, the spiritual world, the energetic world all at once. And we have the greatest moment in human history to combine innovation, creativity, and reinvent ourselves as human beings. And I just love working with super smart, amazing people and helping them amplify their messages and make dreams come true. So that's really what drives me. I love broadcasting, entertainment, marketing, business, and creating wealth and opportunity.
Gene and yourself have extraordinary gravitational pull. Obviously, it's an honor, and we're gonna have some fun today.
Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Let's go to work.
Yeah, and so Vivian, we got a couple of judges in the house that are in a trio that are remarkable.
Really exciting. I see DJ Wright. Is he there? He's the director of operations at Epic Wealth Management. So he must be working with the mayor of money, ambassador of results, Rob Gill.
Hey, what's up, Vivian? How you doing?
How you doing? You're role playing today. This is so exciting.
Rob, how are you, brother?
Yes, good. How you doing? Happy Why Wednesday, everybody.
Happy
I'm excited.
Rob Gill was the first answer. So when it came to integrity-based human influence, this is the man. Rob contacted me 300 times over 7 months, and he did me the favor by having that relentless consistency to build a beautiful relationship. I love you, and thank you, brother.
You got it, brother.
And Vivian, who else we have?
So we have someone who's like an extraordinaire in Hollywood, a beautiful Italian donna with over 20 years of experience in Hollywood. This is one accomplished woman. She seems to do it all. She speaks 6 languages: English, Spanish, Italian, Greek, French, and conversational German. She's a strategic buyer at Little Studio Films, representing international media companies, is a producer, consultant, and blogger. She's also a partner producer consultant at Little Studio Films and is involved in all aspects of company operations, including signing international and domestic distribution and co-production deals and establishing key industry alliances. And she sold between 50 and 150 films in some capacity domestically and abroad as a producer. And check this, Sean. She's attached to The Ball Player, a biopic of a New York Yankee star, Joe Pepitone.
No way. This is amazing. So welcome. What is happening here?
Oh my gosh, I am so thrilled. I'm humbled and I'm honored to be part of this amazing group. You guys are all stars in your field. So to be a star among the stars and educate myself and learn from you, I love it. I love it, Sean. I love this whole ecosystem thing. I love this whole giving, just for the sake of giving and learning from one another is such a good time to do it. I'm excited to watch these two men battle it out who are total pros. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to critique them, but anyway, I'll give it my best.
Okay, well, amazing. 50 to 100 films, that's insane. And we're all learning from each other. So Vivian, what else is happening?
Oh my God, we have the dude who has a Jesus bobblehead, and his name is Ryan Morin. Yep, he's the founder of capitalism.com, host of the 1% podcast. He teaches entrepreneurs to build businesses and invest the profits. Ryan is best known for turning a $600 investment into an 8-figure company and subsequently selling it for 8 figures. His podcasts and videos have been downloaded well over 10 million times, and hundreds of successful students credit his trainings with helping them build 7-figure businesses. He lives in Texas, Austin, where he loves to debate politics and religion. And his dream is to one day, own the Cleveland Indians.
Oh, Ryan, welcome, brother. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. One thing to change. Do I have the Jesus bobblehead or does the bobblehead have me?
Boom. Hey, Ryan, you are like, I'd say there's 9 out of the last 10 days we've had somebody from Texas. So welcome. It's like super awesome. There's like I have this like weird feeling you might know David Gonzalez. Is that possible?
There's a chance. Do I know David or does David know me? I mean, is there anyone David does not know?
I don't think so. So Ryan, and I'm curious about what Mike, Gene, Ryan, all you amazing folk think of this concept. So top 1%, that's something that interests you, correct, Ryan?
That's right.
Yeah. So in American income, and this is like how we drop into the real raw, the top 1% makes up $400,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
The top 0.01%, or top 0.1%, excuse me, makes 1.7 million. 0.01% makes 7.8 million. 0.001% makes $6 million. Why do I share it? I share it because it's once we get into the top 1%, I humbly believe that micro distinctions create exponential differential. Mike has 13 bestsellers, an insane list of accomplishments. His IQ, EQ is probably high, but certainly not widely disparate from other top 1%ers. He's a fractional 1%er. So what separates the fractional 1%ers in their money, time, and magic? That's what we explore in the space of influence, related to the concept that Oprah Winfrey said, that the reason she held the microphone for 30,000 people and became a multi-billionaire virtually, because she said, I hear you, and what you say matters to me. And that's what the world of adding value, marketing, selling, relationship creation, and development in our mind at Unblinded is all about. And with you incredible folk, we're here to learn from each other, have a little fun and gamification, connect, acknowledge, validate, and move forward. So with that said, I'm going to drop in on like how all this works. For Mike and Gene, of course, we have a little bit of fun with the competitive dynamic because like marketing, selling, life is competitive. And most times we sort of avoid stepping into our greatness. The challenge for Mike and Gene today is to open up their learning and vulnerability, which they already have by coming on here and sharing truly their amazing greatness with you. Because I personally and humbly believe this, that if folks don't share who they are and what they're up to and encourage and inspire other people they're relating to and communicating with to do the exact same, like not hiding, not false humility, and not overstating, but truly sharing what life's about, what they're inspired by, where they're going, what they've done, to contextualize one another at some level today, know where we're going. That's what this is all about. Mike, does that sound fair to you?
Sure does. I love the idea, and I have to admit, I'm new to all this, just heard about it. A guest of David Gonzalez, who brought me here, and I'm very, very grateful to him and this opportunity. So have at it. Let's have a blast.
Yeah, I am as well. And Gene, welcome back. Gene was a judge, and Gene has not only been such an incredibly successful person at Tony Robbins' world, but also at Success Resources and other places. These are two geniuses in the space of going from hello to yes with human beings. I'm excited to learn, share, maybe open up some accesses even myself, possibly. We'll see. And so here's how it works. We have 2 rounds. An integrity-based human influence, as we believe it, and of course, everybody could have their different opinions and perspectives, is first about opening the listening to people. We certainly don't want to be Charlie Brown's teacher saying wah, 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 wah to the people with whom you're communicating. My experience with 2 top 100 national jury verdicts between 2014 and 16 is one of only 2 people in the country out of 1.2 million lawyers to do that, collecting $400 million from insurance companies on behalf of medical providers and hospitals, and having created multiple successful spaces in training, coaching, development, including the Unblinded movement, has been rooted in the dynamic of seeing what people don't see about integrity-based influence. From mock jury processes to selling off the Tony Robbins stage and everything in between, these on his behalf, not making my own money, and shattering records like Gene did, that's what this space is about. How do we help people see what they don't see? So round 1 is about opening that listening. And judges, we're looking for how much does our beautiful, incredible, wonderful role player see their future in Mike and Gene, like opening the listening, right? Being drawn by rapport building and whatever mechanism they see fit, and then we'll open up some accesses there, as well as in this first round, putting something at stake. In the second round, that's when Mike and Gene share their greatness or the greatness and amazingness of their product or service to solve for that pain or what was put at stake in that first round, as well as moving to a yes. Now, Mike and Gene might be like, about what? What am I selling? What am I doing? About anything. So for Mike and Gene, the question is, and for all of us, what's the yes that we're seeking? It could be yes to invest, could be yes to contribute to a charity, freeing girls from sexual slavery, ending the unemployment rate or limiting the unemployment rate of the blind, which has been unchanged for 50 years. It might be selling a program, a product, a book deal, a movie, right? Whatever it is. The role player today will step into the space of either as themselves, whatever Mike or Gene would want. So one more time, 2 rounds, 3 minutes round 1, 3 minutes round 2. It's one conversation bifurcated by a phone call in the middle. It's like ring, ring. Oh, I got to take a call in about a minute. Pause, and then continue in the second round. So with that said, Mike or Gene, let's start with Mike. Any questions, Mike?
No, I'm like Green. I watched 1 mini episode and I'm still trying to put my head around this. So consider me Green. I'm excited and scared at the same time.
Mike, I'm Green too, and we're figuring this out. This is 5 weeks in every day. We've had amazing people like yourselves committed to experiential teaching, right? For others, unlocking, watching people see and communicate, and folks like yourselves, that idea of being at 99th and fractional percentiles. What's another access for yourselves as people are blown away and mesmerized by your talent and skill and opening up their learning and listening? So Gene, you've been here, you've seen it. Any questions from you?
No, but just the clarity is, what are we selling to? Yes. Are we selling to an appointment? Are we selling to them to read something, them to do something? And, sales is all about selling to the next step. So Absolutely. Let's be clear on what we're selling to.
Yeah, it's whatever you choose. So if you want to get to an appointment, or you have an appointment and move on to a final yes, you set the context, and you could be selling off of a cold call, an initial meeting, a bump into an event, and moving whatever next step you please.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and Vivian, today's role player is?
It's Rob Gill is what I heard.
Rob Gill, are you ready to step into your role-playing genius?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, yeah, the Mayor of Money is ready. Rob has been in and around the formula, opened 3,000 accounts on Wall Street. When I met Rob, he had 8 sales meetings a month. And Rob, that number 8 meetings a month, very successful person in the space of financial services, increased to what number, Rob?
150.
Yeah, 19X, a guy that was a genius in the space of selling and had made 7 figures on Wall Street. So that said, Gene, since you have been here before, we're going to roll it as you going first in round 1. Would you be cool accepting that?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
And what would you like Rob? Who would you like Rob to be?
Rob is a business owner that has gotten to me via a reference from another business owner. Rob is, he wants to explore different ways to grow his company.
Extraordinary. I think, Gene, that might be exactly who Rob is. So that's
all right. There we go. I'm trying to look you up on LinkedIn. Where are you at?
Rob Gill.
There's a lot of you.
Okay.
Not,
So-
All right, let's go. Let's dance, Gene. Well, we'll get into that in a second. Let's dance.
All right, let's go.
Go ahead.
The question is, do you want to have just met Rob? Did he go to an event, hear you speak? What's this?
Rob got, you know what? I'll find that out.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So we're going to drop in 3 minutes. Is it in person or over the phone?
This is over the phone. This will be very similar to like what we're doing right now.
Beautiful. All right. So it's, Gene, take it in.
Hey, Rob, Gene McNaughton. First of all, thanks for getting on the call. How you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Gene? How are you? Happy Wednesday, brother.
Happy Wednesday. Listen, I want to be respectful of your time, as I'm sure your schedule is as packed as mine. So I think first and foremost, how did you get to me? What was did you hear from me? Did you see me on stage? Did you find someone on social?
You know, Sean Callagher referred me to you. By the way, you got a tremendous voice. Just so you know, I do a lot of telephone business, and the voice tonality is unbelievable.
Thank you. So Sean gave you a referral to me. Now, what was it that struck up the conversation? How did you even get to this place of scheduling a call?
You know, I've been a great individual producer in business. I'm looking to maintain and grow that while at the same time working on the business, and really having the ability to have my whole business world integrated and coordinated. So the right hand is communicating to the left hand in a proper sequence, not necessarily a bunch of separate pieces that sound like a band that's not in unison. And this was some of the conversations that I had with Sean, and he said, hey, listen, you know, you should reach out to Gene.
All right, cool. That's really cool. And Sean, what a good dude Sean is. Now, how do you know Sean?
I tracked him for like 6 months, over 300 times, just to kind of get into his circle after I went to a Tony Robbins event. And not that I met him there, but Tony's language was so powerful, I couldn't find a living example of it until I met Sean. I seen him speak in front of a bunch of doctors in New Jersey, and he was the living example of what I was learning in the Tony world. So I was blown away, and I just wanted to be close to it.
Fully agree.
And by the way, Gene, I got about a minute and a half, just so you know. I apologize.
Okay,
I didn't know we were going to get down.
Yep, I'll get right to it. So typically business leaders come to me when they're in one of two camps. One is their company is not performing at the level in terms of revenue and gross profit margin dollars that they would want it to be. Or the other camp is they're doing well, but that business leader knows they could be doing even better. And where would you say you are?
Business leader. No, I know we could do. I know we are like the raw talent. Like if I'm going to make a basketball analogy, because that's how I grew up, we are like a superb stealth athlete that could play above the rim, who has a wide wingspan, can play 90 feet defense, but we just can't get the pieces together properly to get into that proper shot clock mindset and execute consistently and daily the way I think we can. Okay,
good. And probably the biggest thing to understand right now is, are you a fit for me? Am I a fit for you? But so you say that you've got a good team, not hitting on all cylinders, but can you expand on that a little bit? Like, are you missing a number? Is it not growing at the level you want?
It's a great question. We're in the agency we're part of, we're like blowing the whole agency away. We want to be number one in the country, period. And we want to be able to kind of rinse and repeat, bring on new talent while at the same time getting the pieces who are committed, but getting the pieces more inside more of a Sean would say, a process mastery, daily process mastery, distinction grind.
Got it. How would you describe your processes today?
Rob's going to grab a phone call. 30 seconds. We're just going to pause.
Holy cow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love our process today. You know, like at the top, you know, we did go from 8 to 150 meetings a month. We're hitting on some really good cylinders. I think that the goal would be go to 150 to 1,000 meetings a month. I think we're real close, a couple of notches to the right that can make that happen. But at the same time, I want to make sure that we build it properly to bring on that kind of workforce that can handle that.
Got it. So are we talking about hiring, the process of hiring and getting superstars, as well as onboarding training, as well as what you're doing to performance manage? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, while maintaining the farm system that's been there. I like to call them the unforgettables that have been there since day one, and what they've been doing has been incredible, just to kind of take us what's been happening over the last 6 months.
So Gene, we're going to call. Rob's going to grab a call, but he'll be back in a little bit, and you guys can finish up.
Yeah, listen, I love the call. Can I call you back in a little while, and we can finish this up?
Why don't we schedule it? How do you look tomorrow at 8?
Oh, I got something on at 8 o'clock.
Rob could be back actually in 5 minutes. He'll call you right back.
Can I call you back in 5 minutes, Gene?
You can, but I've got another call right after this one.
Okay.
So why don't you call me back if I can put that other one on hold? I think the biggest thing to understand is if you want to go further and go to a much more, let's call it deeper exploration, which would take us about an hour. That way I can understand, I'll have time to do research on your business, which I'll do everything on that I can online, as well as I want to walk through exactly what is happening to get you to where you are so we can understand the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's almost always in people, process, and technology.
So here's what I'll do. I'll call you in 5. If we miss each other, I'll make sure someone on my team connects you and blocks an hour.
What if I sent you a link right now that allowed you to look at your calendar and see the openings and you can just book it in 2 clicks?
Oh my God, I'll go banana. You might as well send it to DJ or somebody on my team. Like,
what's DJ's
once I get
email
into
address?
email links and everything else, it goes crazy.
Why don't we do that? And that way we can coordinate. What I find is when we're focused and prepared for a meeting, I can send you an agenda in advance and we'll knock it out.
You know, with COVID-19 right now, like I'm at home with my wife and 3 kids and the looks I'm getting is incredible. You wouldn't even believe the looks that are coming from the kitchen right now. I'll just make sure DJ connects with you.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Excellent work. Gene, how'd that feel for you?
Awkward. No, here's what I would say is if somebody's putting me off like that, I would probably do a takeaway right there and say, this probably isn't going to work for you. I'm probably not the right guy, which would then change Rob's attention span. Like, you know what? I don't think I'm the right person for you. You know, I work on a very tight schedule. I show up to meetings on time. I expect my clients to do the same. That's what I would say right away.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to get to the round of feedback and judges. Rob, real quick, one word for you, just one word to describe the encounter.
Tonality, persistence. Sorry.
That's 2 words.
Yep.
I love you. Mike, how are you?
I'm great.
All right. So this is what it looks like. Who would you like Rob to be?
All right. I think Rob is a business person. We can find out what business he's in a moment. He wants to build a personal brand and craft a premium offer. He wants to launch a platform, grow an audience, and monetize it quickly. And he's looking for a way to just simplify his business because he's been working his butt off with a lot of overhead for a long time. He wants to spend a lot more time with his family, have more freedom in his life, and focus on businesses and clients he loves. Instead, get off the hamster wheel.
Mike, do you know Rob Gill personally?
I don't. We've never met before. So this is going to be, this is the first, and let's find that out. Is this something you might be interested in, Rob?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right.
Have you met Rob? Is your first encounter with Rob? Was it a scheduled appointment or a bump into?
So what happened is Rob heard me on my podcast. He read a couple articles that I had published and written about other business owners in Entrepreneur Magazine. He went down the rabbit hole. He saw an episode of Elevator Pitch. It's like Shark Tank TV show that I was on. He's like, look, I've seen your work. I want that for me. And you talk about this simplified life. And so what he did is he requested a conversation with my wife. I had him fill out a brief form just to qualify and make sure he was real. And my assistant checked him out, made sure he's got a LinkedIn profile, and he sounded like a right fit. So this is our first conversation, but he knows he has a good idea what he wants and where he wants to go. And now it's just like how and what's this look like for him?
Extraordinary. So remember, Mike, it's a 3-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Pause and then continue. So it's not
right on. I'll time it and I'll watch the clock. Okay.
Are we Zoom? Are we Zooming this?
We are going to Zoom. Every one of my meetings is always Zoom because I want to own your eyeballs, your mouth, and your fingers.
Mike, you don't have to watch the clock. You can, but we'll watch the clock for you. Of course, we have flexibility. You typically go to about 4 minutes, but 3 minutes is wrap.
Right on. I like to pace and keep an eye on things too. So I'm all set for you. Whatever you want.
Remember, you don't need to get to the yes in round 1. The opening, listening, putting something at stake is all that the judging on round 1 is. And then round 2 is the who you are, what's happening, and the yes. Good?
Right on.
Okay. Take us in, Mike.
All right, Rob, great to meet you. I checked you out. I'm very interested in what you're doing and where you want to go. And so I understand you want to build a personal brand, create a premium offer, launch a platform, grow an audience, and monetize it quickly. And if it's okay, I'll just ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, hey, Mike, thank you so much for reaching out. First of all, I want to just acknowledge those funky, fresh glasses.
Thank you.
I love the look, and it's definitely got my attention, besides all the other great things that you do.
The first thing I'm going to do is make sure I'm going to text you my number right now. Give me your home address. I'll have a pair delivered to you. Okay. They make a huge difference. It'll reduce the fatigue on your eyes at the end of the day.
Awesome. Thank you. Good.
So here's my first question. It's really simple. And that is, who's your audience and who do you want to be a hero to?
Family-oriented business owners and individuals that are looking for proper planning, that sit and fit, where we create models that goes exactly to their moral code and at the same time help them put money back into their pocket where it belongs.
Okay. So in the context then of simplifying your business, earning more, reducing all the complexity that you have right now and being able to build that platform, let's just imagine that if you and I were meeting 1 year from today, what needs to happen for you to feel happy with your progress personally and professionally?
Triple revenue. Much more. And by the way, COVID-19, thank God, has forced this in such a beautiful way because everything's been based out of the home, but much more consistent and predictable balance. And for me to be able to really bring in my, I like to call it my tripartite division of mind, body, and spirit, working on the body in a way that I've visualized but haven't manifested yet.
Got it. So I'm going to just make sure I hear this. Triple the revenue. You mentioned COVID, which everyone, my interpretation of what you're saying is people are much more open to working virtually, connecting the way we are right now, which is a simplifier. But what you're looking for is consistent and predictable, and also being able to bring your authentic self forward, which incorporates the mind, body, spirit. So really, part of this is your message and being totally authentic with yourself, right?
Yeah. And Mike, just let me clarify one thing. As far as COVID, it's really kind of, watching my kids be homeschooled and watching, my wife wear on many hats and just seeing what I've been able to see. The beautiful thing about all of that is all these meetings that I've had are so much more precise, so much more, like structured in a way that my business side has never been structured like this, the way it's been, especially in the last 30 days.
Rob, you have a call in 20 seconds?
Got it. But hey, Mike, do you mind? Listen, I thank you for reaching out. So many things are unpredictable right now. I got to hang up in about 20 seconds, but can I call you back in like 5 or 10 minutes? Would that be okay?
Make it 5. I've got 30 minutes in between, so I can definitely make this happen, and we'll get back to what this looks like. So fabulous. Beautiful. I'm looking forward to our next connection.
Okay, I'll call you as soon as I'm done.
You got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Rob.
Bye-bye.
Mike, first of all, your voice is extraordinary. I ask a always direct, open question. Have you had voice coaching, or were you blessed with such a naturally wonderful voice?
No, I grew up poor, and I hated being poor, cold, and last. So I learned, I modeled, I studied infomercials, and I started working the day I turned 16, and I worked at a little tiny small town gas station where rapport was critical to making everything work. And my dad's a barber. And so I grew up in an environment that was very high touch, relationship oriented, and just modeled people that meant the world to me. My dad is genuinely my hero.
Oh my God. And where'd you grow up, brother?
Eagle Lake, Minnesota.
Very nice.
Little tiny town.
Where at, Mike?
63 people. Pardon me?
What? Where?
Eagle Lake, Minnesota. Little tiny town. You familiar with it?
Well, I'm from Sioux City, so I was probably about 4 hours south of you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, my dad's from Iowa, so the whole family's still down there. The Koenigs clan. Yeah, no kidding. McIntyre, Ames area, north central.
Okay, I know that area exceptionally well.
But thank you for the kind words, Sean. I really appreciate that. And to me, my voice sounds whiny and nasally. So it's you do what you can, right? But no training. I'm all self-taught.
So we talk about the 4 energies of influence: fun, aspirational, goddess, Zeus. Like goddess being present, flowing, love, empathy. Fun being fun, right? Aspirational being here we are, and transcendent. Zeus is the voice of decision. It's not overpowering. It's not overwhelming. The Zeus energy represented by the lightning bolt on our Unblinded logo. Your Zeus energy, and Gene's as well, you both bring such certainty.
Yes.
In different ways, right? But such tonal certainty. Extraordinary, everybody watching, listening now and later, to model. Just extraordinary. So it is not confusing as to why both of you have had such extraordinary success for many other reasons, but that was fully present. The commanding certainty, both of Gene and Mike, represented with certain different distinctions, of course, but both fully present. So with that said, Rob Gill, let's drop in with your judging and assessing today from the unique vantage point of the role player. What's your about 20 seconds of positive feed, or not positive, of what worked feedback for Gene? 20 seconds, if there's anything that you see as an opportunity for growth. I think there always is for all of us. And then a score. And then the same thing for Mike. So let's drop in, let's try to keep it to 20 seconds in each direction, in terms of positive opportunity for growth, brother, and fire away.
Great. Gene, love the certainty, love, like I said, I love the voice tonality. One of the things that is very effective for me is what I like to call the alternative choice. So, and I saw how you were trying to control the narrative, and I totally get the takeaway, the implicit takeaway, which I thought was amazing. I don't know if I would do it that early, so I'm glad you didn't. But one of the things I would do personally, this is just me, when I say, hey, Gene, listen, can we get together tomorrow? Would 9, 10, or 11 be best? I'd love to give choices of 3, and you just gave me 8 o'clock. So it was almost like, you know what, I can't do it. Even if I could, I felt like I had to say I couldn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll always go 8, 9, 10, morning, afternoon, at night, whatever. That's how I'll try and position it. But I thought you were fabulous. I know that I'm, speaking with both of you guys, I could tell that I'm in the presence of high-level success. I could just feel it. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to share the one thing that stood out for me.
Excellent feedback.
How about first score, Rob?
8.75.
Nice.
Damn it. Damn.
All right, what did you have for Mike, Rob?
8.74 for Mike.
Gene is displaying influence and pre-framing right up front as a true student of the work of NLP and the Tony Robbins world.
I swear to God, I was already thinking, you know what I mean? Like, how can I make it nice for Mike, but still less than Gene? That was great. So I felt a definite with Mike. I felt like we knew each other already. I did feel that. I feel that I appreciated that he said, all right, call me back in 5 minutes. The one thing, and I think in sales somewhere along the line, we're taught this, or we kind of feel in that space, but hey, listen, call me back in 5 minutes, but I got to watch out for the next 30. I would just be careful in that space. You know what I mean? Because the call happened real fast and I just had to jump off, but I was going to get back. But I did appreciate the paternalistic approach that he brought. I felt it in my heart. I felt like he was a relative of mine. I felt Midwestern values all over the place. I feel like he could have been a little bit more like, all right, listen, if you can't get back to me in 5 minutes, call me back in 3 or 4 hours, something like that. But at the same time, I understand that he's busy. You know what I mean? So I had an urge to go 8.5, but now I'm going to say 8.75. I'm going to stay tied until the next round, and then I'm going to give you a winner.
All right. Hey, so Mike and Gene, we're going to drop into Lexi in a moment. Rob opened up a couple of access points that I think were beautiful. There's such technical competency for both of you. And while it was technically so competent, it was also wildly authentic. So there was, Gene didn't necessarily drop into a deep heart level, but I think Gene is just like so raw Gene. It just comes across so optimally effectively. Like stylistically, somebody can connect on a much deeper emotional level, but Gene like just operates as Gene. And it's like raw, authenticity. This is who I am. This is what it is. This is what I'm going to train you to be. That comes across. Mike, similarly, there's like a beautiful structure to how you're approaching things, from my vantage point. And I felt the same. It was stylistically a little bit distinct from Gene, but just like wild authenticity, for both. Like that jumped. And I have a couple of other thoughts, after the other judges go, but like that popped for me. And I wanted to emphasize that for the folks that are watching, that there's a structure. Like these are highly trained people that so authentically show up as the highly trained people they are. So awesome. Thank you, guys. Alexia, you ready to drop in? And what do you got for 20 seconds on the positive, 20 seconds opportunity for growth? Starting with Gene, what do you have?
Oh, it's been wonderful because I love what you said, Sean, about the two different styles that are very, very evident in both of them, yet you could totally tell they're total pros. So as far as Gene is concerned, I love the confidence in his voice. I loved how he immediately connected to people. And in this case, to our role player, looking for the commonalities, like, the connecting the dots of the people that have in common, like the Tony Robbins. He also was looking for the pain points. And I love the line where he said, are you a fit for me? Am I a fit for you? Because I believe people need to like each other and they also have to have common goals. And I like the what is the process question. I feel like almost, if I have to be just a tiny little critique, he almost lost the client at some point when they were going back and forth on the setting up the time to speak. I think when he said, I want to find the time to research you, I think that was a great opening point, because then that brought him back in, because you wanted to research the client and then you wanted to then give him what he needs in that moment. So I think you just went back on it. You just had like a little tiny moment, but then just like nailed it when you said that he wants the time to research. So that was really good. That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What did you have for Alexia?
Huh?
What did you have for a score for Gene?
Oh, I would say an 8.5 for Gene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike?
Mike. Okay. So Mike, let me tell my notes. Okay. So very real approach, very from the heart. I loved, this is the very thing that stood out for me, Mike, is that when he made the comment on your glasses, that was a brilliant move to me, that you immediately said, I'm going to send you a gift. I'm going to send you those glasses. I'm going to get your phone number and your email, which is, he got what he wanted, the phone number and the email that Jim wasn't able to get right on the spot. So I thought that was really, really good. He took a different approach from the heart. He wanted to get all the research ahead on the potential client. I love that he asked him, who is your audience and who is the hero you want to be to? So like you said, Sean, he had a little bit of a different approach, trying to make him feel like a family member. And he also asked about quantifiable goals and how he wants to be his authentic self. So very different approach from Gene, just as effective. I feel like, the only thing that he probably had a one-up on Gene was that he got that phone number and he got that email off the bat. So if for some reason Rob would fall apart and he would not call, he wouldn't know how to push through. So that's that.
Amazing. So what'd you have as a score?
I would say 9.
Okay. Extraordinary.
Close call.
Thank you. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm sorry. Ryan, I'm sorry.
I'm ready to go. Hey, Mike, we can hang out. That's cool.
Hey, brother.
Hey, so how are you experiencing the Real Raw so far, Ryan? What do you think?
This is fun. This is really fun. And it was very interesting to see the two very different styles, the two very different approaches. Mike had an advantage because he got to watch it once, but Gene has been a judge. So you guys have different perspectives, but it was really interesting to see the two different approaches.
Cool. And what are you dropping in on? What do you have for Gene and what do you have for Mike?
Okay, Gene, so I really liked how you framed yourself in the sales conversation. So one of the things that you opened with was, how do you get sent to me? Did you see me on stage? Did someone recommend you? And I liked that you introduced with a sense of authority right off the bat. Where I really thought you had a lot of room for improvement was you blew it on the rapport with Rob. Rob gave you an absolute literal layup when he said that he was really into basketball. He starts talking about the basketball analogies that he has. He starts talking about how he's got this great team. And we're right in the middle of The Last Dance, like being at the peak of its popularity. And you had this slam dunk where you could have been like, I hear what you're saying, Rob. It sounds to me like you've got some Michael Jordans and some Scottie Pippens on the sideline. And like, that they worked together for a long time with a lot of potential, but they could never win championships. until they got the right coach. And, that's what I help people like you do is I take Michael Jordan's and I help them win championships. And there's this need from Rob for you to catch him and tell him where he needed to go. And I didn't think that you spent enough time in the middle really understanding where he wanted to go in order to jump in. But had you done that, you would have locked him down. This wouldn't have been a role play. Rob would have given you money here on the call.
And so what did you, I love that, dude. Listen, this is some drama. Ryan's a straight up assassin.
I like him. Yeah. Yeah.
Straight up assassin.
Sales assassin.
So what did you have for a score, Ryan?
So Gene, I like your confidence. I like your framing, but without rapport, we don't get anywhere. I give you a 4.5.
Ouch.
Listen, we have a Simon Cowellness. The last week we've had a couple of folks here's Simon Cowell.
Hashtag Texas.
That's it. And by the way, Ryan, super grateful because authenticity is what this is about. And it's about supporting people and seeing things. So Gene is amazing, but having that hey, rapport equals zero, problem, lack of rapport. Beautiful access point, brother. Thank you. And how about for Mike?
Ninja Jesus at it again.
So, and don't worry, Gene, I have a friend here who can resurrect the dead. So you still have hope. So Mike, first of all, as an equity advisor to Swanee's Blue Blocker sunglasses, I'm very glad that you're repping the brand. Thank you very much. Love that you worked that into your pitch. It was the first thing that you said. It was almost like you knew who the judges were going to be today. So thank you.
Oh, I didn't, but thank you.
I loved the Dan Sullivan question from the get-go. And what I thought your approaches with Gene was almost opposite. You spent the entire conversation getting rapport, and to the point where I wasn't 100% clear what you do as a business person, but I knew that I at least believed that you had the solution to Rob's problem, regardless of what it was that you did. So had you had more time, I would have liked to see you come straight for the jugular with how you can help Rob. But I thought the fact that with limited time, you were able to get that much rapport and that much understanding of what he was struggling with was beautifully done. I give you a 9 out of 10. Well freaking done.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mike. That's incredible feedback. Remember, round one, we were just rapport building, putting something at stake. So I think if that's your context, I think Mike was straight on. Round two is where he begins to seed what he is doing, et cetera. But I just want to make sure everybody was clear on that. Mike, incredible feedback.
Appreciate it. Yeah, very good. I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, and Ryan, thank you. And that was straight on. So Rob, real quick, just dropping in for a quick access point. So we talked about the rapport building, and something that just popped for me, present the feedback. Ryan really accentuated this point. Alexia touched on as well, that nobody says anything for no reason. So just accepting that reality, and nobody says anything for no reason. So when Rob Gill says, and let's play a fun game, Ryan. When Rob Gill says, "I come from a basketball background," why do you think, Ryan, that Rob Gill says, "I come from a basketball background"?
Why do I think he says that?
Yes. And it's a trick question. It's the most forget Rob. It's why does anybody say anything?
Because we are all human beings fundamentally looking for connection above all else. And when we share something that is intimate to us, we are asking the other person to match us to see if there's a connection.
So, wow. To me, it sounds like he's phenomenal. So, and by the way, in case people are who's this guy? What's your positioning? I've spent an immense amount of time studying human influence, jury verdict consulting, all sorts of different dynamics, top jury verdicts myself. So as have the fine folks here. So these are wildly trained people of insight. So it's really fun today. This is an awesome day. Thank you, David Gonzalez, for that, and all of you for being here. So Rob, how about this, Ryan? How does this feel for you and everybody? So let's say Rob, hey Rob, so basketball? You mentioned your basketball background. What's that about?
Yeah, no, my early years in life, and even when I put my pants on today, one leg at a time, I go back to the days of I was fortunate enough to play high school and college basketball, just on an average level, but I was real fortunate enough to be trained and be a part of the greatest high school coach in history.
Wow, and who was that?
Bob Hurley from St. Anthony's. I'm not sure if you know who that is. If you're a basketball fan, you may know him. His son went on to play for Duke and was a lottery pick in the NBA. And his other son played for Seton Hall. Both now are college coaches, high D1 college coaches. And Bob Sr. went on to be a Hall of Famer for Basketball Hall of Fame. As I think he had like 29 state championships, 5 mythical national championships, and 6 first-round picks in the NBA.
So this is a person you personally had a direct contact with?
Yeah, I kind of had the answers to the test. My older sister married his brother. So, like, at a very young age, the families were integrated, and I was able to kind of know him before the nation knew him. And, you know, seeing that firsthand and watching that as it unfolded really prepared me for business later on, because I didn't realize that's what success looked like until I looked back.
Yeah. And we can keep going and play this, like keep moving forward. I point for all, nobody says anything they don't want us to know. So Vivian, who was on introducing, would say, yeah, you know, I moved 29, you know, I moved around a lot. I moved 29 times growing up, and then I moved here, ... Vivian says she moved 29 times while she was growing up because she wants to talk about it. Rob Gill's identity from his childhood is represented by a bunch of things, but everybody tells us what they are proud of, moved by, inspired by, and they want us to know. Vivian says she moved 29 times. When you dig in, Vivian starts explaining how there was all sorts of extraordinary challenges and problems that she and her mother overcame throughout her life, and that's why she wants to tell. It's contextualizing and setting up a person's presentation of themselves. If we miss the opportunity to drop in on a question like that, simply is basketball, one question, basketball, and that access opens up. Rob, and listen, and you can go, you know, Rob, for those that watch this every day, you know this happens every day with people I don't know, but Rob, how connected did you feel when you had the ability to start explaining Coach Hurley, national championships, 29 state championships? How did that feel for you, and how did it make you feel about me if we don't know each other?
It felt good because, you know, you were showing a deep concern, asking questions that made me want to talk about something that I was proud of, that I saw, that I witnessed, you know, that I had I was in the third row of watching, you know, in 1989 as a high school student, St. Anthony's was the #1 team in the country. I mean,
Mike, do you see this? That Rob's not even answering the question. He's just telling me more of the story of his life, because that's how much he wants to tell the story of his life.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And I'd be looking for ways to integrate that in the sales presentation. So the way I always look at it is I like to find nuggets to craft a movie, a hero's journey movie, where he gets to be the hero in it when it comes to the presentation. And that's what you're always looking for, you know, those up and down moments. And that's what I'd be looking for here. And also to use the metaphors in the relaying the message back.
So Mike and Gene, in round 2, you're free to use all that. So we just opened up an access to Rob Gill. What I just opened up with him, that's present for you. So now in round 2, you heard Rob's pain in round 1. You know a lot about Rob from what both of you uncovered. Free to use both because you're in the same dynamic. So free to use all openness of what Rob shared plus what I just opened up. Round 2, it's presenting who you are, what your services are, however you do that. People would call it their USP. Here we call it your heroic, unique identity. And whether we step into the frame of Mike and being the guide to the hero journey, or Mike side by side, whatever it is, it's how does Rob see his future in you and say yes to what you're seeking. Does that make sense, Mike?
It sure does. Yeah.
So this round, Mike, you're going to go first, if that's cool. And are you ready to drop in?
Yeah, absolutely. You tell me when. And so Rob, you're coming back on the Zoom call. Is that what's happening right now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So ring, we connect. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm going to call you back, right?
Yeah.
Ready? So I'm going to take it. Rob's just going to say hello. It's ring, and Rob say hello.
Hello.
Hey, it's nice to see you again, Rob. How did that little break go?
It was good. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate your patience.
That's no problem at all. The good news is the time aligned for us. So we were just talking about building this simplified business and also growing your personal brand. And, when you took that little break, I wanted to ask you, one thing you didn't tell me is, what does your current product sell for? Like, what's your current offer in terms of dollar figures? You told me you wanted to triple your revenue.
Well, I didn't really mention this. We have a one-stop shop financial planning wellness center. So we have a bunch of different products. The goal for us is, when we sit down with business owners and/or individuals, is not create a cookie cutter plan, but one that matches and sits and fits with the core value of the person that we're discussing. So you asked me a beautiful question before when you said, a year from now, when you look back, what would your expectations be? One of the things that we actually say is, 3 years from now, what do we have to have done in your world to make it feel like there was massive progress and it was a good decision you made to work with us? So I'm not trying to not answer the question, but I don't have an answer specific, only because it's not about a product, it's about a process.
Understood. Well, if for you, I would suspect, like any business, the secret to all this is to craft a story to open up someone to say yes more frequently and more often by trusting you more. So they will ultimately be willing to invest or release more funds that you can manage for them, or invest in other services or products, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yes. And I love how you say release funds. That's a great way to communicate that message. Phenomenal. I'm picking up on a lot of this.
I've worked with a lot of financial planners, so I understand the complex world you live in and all the stuff you have to deal with in terms of just the legal side of things and compliance. Yes. Yep. So imagine for a moment, if we were able to craft the right stories, and that might come in the form of a book, a speech, maybe a presentation that could be automated, that would accelerate the process of going from connection to yes. I'm curious right now, how long does it take to go from connection to an enrollment or a release of funds for you, where someone actually is fully engaged?
Great question. Once again, not trying to be evasive. And
but a range is good.
Well, sometimes it takes 3 to 5 days. Sometimes it may take 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
As Sean Callaghy, and I'll use him as a shining example, of the 600 times it took just to get the meeting that we eventually had, it still took another year to eventually become his planner, right? And we were very, very good friends during that process. So he's the example of the far side, but we also have a very powerful ecosystem merger with a YouTuber that, in the process that he delivers, let's call it people that are looking to be educated to our office. When that happens, that could be anywhere between 7 days and, let's say, 35 days. And I would say the normal would be 30 days when I look globally across all my ecosystems.
Got it. So the net here is, I get it, 3 to 5 days, 6 months. It just depends on the type of person, whether or not they're a fact finder or what we call a quick start on the Colby scale. Their profiles matter. So maybe just imagine this for a moment. If we sat down and crafted and really analyzed the buckets that your clients fall into in terms of their decision-making process, how they gather data, and we simplified that and had maybe short, I always think of them as mini movies people can watch where they see themselves in and using your products. Think about the transformation in terms of lifestyle, the ability for them to retire early or to be able to get to their goals a lot faster. So if we got them engaged with a couple of tools, some storytelling vehicles that you could drop in and automate, do you think it's possible that we could increase the revenue by maybe 1.5 to 3 times and also shorten the sales cycle if we had several of those tools built?
Yeah, great question. And our sales cycle has been shortened.
30 seconds.
How much time?
30 seconds.
Wow. Yes, I think mental pictures are phenomenal. One of the things we often say to people, if it fits their profile, you can have a lot more fun in a beach house than you can in an IRA. So I get it. I understand that.
So here's what I want to leave you with, and then we can decide together if we're going to have another conversation and go deep and talk further about what it's like to work together. But I recently worked with an amazing financial advisor. I've worked with hundreds of them actually and built their platforms. One of them, his name's Charlie Epstein, manages about $500 million in business. He's interesting and unusual because years ago, decades ago, he did stand-up comedy. And we crafted a one-man show called Yield of Dreams for him. It's actually a one-man play. And he's getting support right now by multiple financial organizations he sells services for. And he's going to use this as an outreach tool. So we craft what we call a category of one. And I know we talked about basketball. Imagine being able to create a basketball metaphor program to attract and engage and simplify the sales process. It'd be a unique category one, all about you, for you, that would make you the only financial advisor with a theme and a process like that. Is that interesting to have that conversation?
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. I'd love to explore it further.
All right, awesome. Well, I've got your text. I'm going to send you a link right now. Pick a time that we can check in again. It'll take about 30 minutes to talk about the process of working together, and we can schedule some time to make it happen. And I'll also follow up with a video summary describing exactly what we talked about here in your mobile text within 15 minutes. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. It's been nice chatting with you, Rob. Bye-bye.
You too.
Excellent work, Mike, from a true professional and wisdom. Mike, how was that for you?
It was great. I love doing this and finding people's superpowers and finding a unique way to express yourself that elevates you and makes people excited to want to do business with you. I like to say, I only do business with people I love on businesses I love or can fall in love with. And I want them to feel the same way too.
Extraordinary. Well, thank you, sir. And Rob, one word. How was that encounter with Mike for you? What'd you feel?
Comfortable.
Awesome. All right. Gene, are you ready, sir?
I am.
All right.
Let's do it.
So when Gene, Sean,
Rob, hold on. My level 5 listening tells me, by the way, I get to coach Rob like it's Coach Hurley. That's the relationship we have. I was not being disrespectful to my brother from another mother. I love him. In fact, he was in my beach house last night. He showed up like unannounced. It was amazing. So love you, Rob. So Gene,
love you too.
Here, the certainty. Like this is a competitive warrior in the heart. Like, love it. Like, that's awesome. Right? So can I actually ask this, Gene, what was your competitive dynamics growing up? Because I hear it in you. Like, what was that like in growing up, or where did you compete?
My competitive dynamic was all sports. So I was a 4-sport kid.
Yeah. What did you play?
What's that?
What did you play? What 4 sports?
Baseball, football, basketball, and then track as I got into high school.
You just it rings like boom. Okay. So, 3 minutes, Gene, you ready? I know you are.
Yep.
Rob, just say ring, ring, and it's going to be a continuation of the same phone call.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, what's up, Gene? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I appreciate how busy everybody is. Listen, so let's get right to it. I'm going through my notes right now, and in our last conversation, you had mentioned that your company's doing well, but you know you could be doing better, and we didn't get a chance to get into the dynamics of that. And when you say you could be doing better than you are, walk me through what that gap is. I mean, what's holding you back from you and your company being at full potential?
You know what? Let me ask you a quick question. Are you an athlete? Do you know? Have you competed? Have you done any sports competition? Understand like playoff scenarios and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So let me tie it into basketball. That's the best thing I can do. We can't get past the second round.
Okay.
We can't get past the second round. And I think maybe a new coach would be in order. And I think that would mean remove me, of all people, right? But I think that for me, I think it's just kind of like, you know, we get there, and we just can't break through that ceiling of complexity. Could be a limiting belief. I don't know.
Well, I think that, you know, should we decide to move forward together, I'll need to go up and down your org chart. And part of the process that we use when we get involved with a new client like you is we go through a full audit process. The audit process would be part of me and you sitting down. We'll interview. I need to go up and down everything it is you do. Very similar to sports, almost always the biggest issues will lie in the numbers. Tell me about how good you are at tracking, measuring, and monitoring right now.
You know, great question, and thank you for asking. I think that as I got involved more with Sean and the Cali results formula, which is now through the Unblinded World, the language of it, our monitoring and measuring, because I brought on somebody that we call an accountability driver, is phenomenal. And prior to that, it wasn't. Just, well, phenomenal from our standard now from where it was, 3 or 4 months ago. So that has begun its process. Like, that's happening every day.
Okay, so on a scale of 0 being awful, 10 being awesome, you're saying metric-wise, you're dialed in, and I'm talking about pipeline reports, forecast report, all the way down to baseline activities.
Yes.
Okay,
right
good.
now. Yep.
Where do you think the gap is? I mean, you came to me for a reason. What is it that you're hoping to get out of this?
I think if there's an improvement across the board by my team individually, 15, 20% per person, I think, which is small distinctions, I believe, proper language conversations in between the different touches and connections. And I think every word counts. And I think if we can continue to improve those conversations more and more, I think it'll result in an increase in sales.
Okay, got it. And one of the things that I make very clear early in a relationship is we're not really a training company. Most people come to me because they believe they need more sales training. And what I say to other smart CEOs, same thing I'll say to you is it training you want, or is it growth that you want? Right? So,
I want growth.
Yeah, everybody wants growth. And what I help them understand, same thing that we'll dive into in our future conversations, should we have those, is that growing a company is not just better training, although training is one piece of it. The other piece of it is ironclad metrics management and monitoring and management. And then the third piece is making sure that marketing is creating weapons for your sellers, not just spec sheets and websites. I'm talking about weapons like case studies and white papers. I was on your website. I didn't see anything like that. Is that for a reason, or have you just not got to it yet?
Probably not even aware of it, number one, and gotten to it, number two.
All three of those things are required to grow. So one of the things that I want to suggest is, before we go any further, I need to let you know, I'm going to have to understand every minutia detail about your business. What I always recommend, the first thing we do is we exchange a non-disclosure confidentiality agreement. Are you up for doing that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Do you have one that you want to send, or do you want me to send ours?
I would definitely love to send you one. Because I think at the end of the day, because there is a certain secret sauce that we have that I would not want you to share with anyone else in the financial services.
Fully understand.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with that? By the way, I'm trying to stay within my 3-minute window, which never in the history of my life would I do a 3-minute sales call, just FYI. But just so everybody knows, stepping out of this is, the first close that I make is the non-disclosure.
I like that.
If that business leader sends that, that's 1,000 times stronger than a trial close. That means they're truly intent and interested. So that's how I would end that.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Gene, that's an outstanding job. So a couple quick thoughts from both Gene and Mike. This is just fun for me. I'm accessing higher levels of mastery, bringing things present to me where I'm loose right now. So this is tremendous. What I loved with what Gene just did was I loved when he said growth versus training. And so what that did, it created that beautiful, in our language, heroic, unique identity contrast. It's like, this is that, you want that or this? And once you start using such powerfully distinct language as congruently as Gene does, it creates that blank spot in the sales process of like knowingness is present. And then Gene hits you with such certainty and distinct language. It's like, whoa, love that he jumped on the website. Love that distinction as well. One thing that came up for me, I'm gonna drop in with the judges real quick, for both Mike and Gene is, and it's a short time window, so I'm sure they get to this normally. Their backgrounds are so extraordinary in the space of selling, in the space of business success, that I think a little bit about themselves, like reminding the person of their own accomplishments. Because remember, they're allowing Rob to step in his greatness and rapport building round one. But what I would have loved is to say, with humility, the right tonal approach, from both Gene and Mike to say, listen, and by the way, with humility, let me share again a little bit about some of the things I've been uniquely privileged to accomplish, ... And they're both so powerful. So Gene and Mike, outstanding jobs. And I think sometimes I believe that I'm not saying this applies to either of you, but sometimes people out there that we're taught so much not to talk about ourselves and share that the other person can easily forget how insanely successful and qualified both of you are. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, thanks. I'll just give you one nugget. What I typically do, again, if there weren't just 3 minutes, is I answer questions and create scenarios using stories of transformation with existing clients. I kind of did that with the Charlie Epstein story, someone I worked with. So again, the objective is always paint the picture, craft a movie they see themselves in based upon social proof. And then periodically I'll weave in the swinging part of the, like whatever the egoic side is. But I generally start with storytelling and transformations as that vehicle.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was really a good distinction. I appreciate that.
Sean, could I jump in and my judge feedback is all about what Mike just said. Would it be okay if I did that?
Yeah, give your feedback and scores, please, Ryan. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So Mike, I caught what you did there. I thought that was really well done. I loved how you opened with the frame of there was this, you asked Rob a question and he hesitated for a second and you came right in with the goal that he had. You saw him hesitate and you're like, you mentioned that you wanted to triple your revenue. And it was just like, it so framed the conversation in a way that put you in the driver's seat for the whole time. And then you tied it into the movie, which I thought was really, really well done. The one thing where I thought could be improved is your pitch was a bit of a risk. You went really specific in the pitch where you called in the basketball theme and you went really hard with it. And that could go either way, because had he not liked that, that would have been very hard to recover from. Yeah. And so when you went for it, I was like, you had me on my seat a little bit where I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And in the role play, it paid off. In real life, who knows? That's edgy.
I wouldn't have taken quite that risk if it were real world, and I would have had a lot more data to paint the scenario. I would have done, let me give you one. Here's another idea. That way I can do a contrast.
Got it. That's great. In this role play, I give you an 8 out of 10. Well done.
Hey, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great feedback. Ryan, what would you say to this? I think, and I don't believe that we should be completely general, depending upon what the work we're going to do, but Mike has just got such a ridiculous background and credibility that essentially what feels right, and as he weaves those stories in, I love the $500 million, person, fantastic. It's just like, hey, Rob, you just belong with me. Like, I don't think Mike even needs an idea. It's just, I am going to analyze your world. I'm going to find the access points because I'm Mike, and this is what I do, and you're going to grow. What do you think of that, Ryan?
I agree with you. And I think Mike has a real keen knack for finding that story in each individual. Like, that's kind of his superpower. And in 3 minutes, he had to rapid fire find it, and he went for it, which was risky. But I appreciated the overall approach.
Awesome. And what'd you have for Gene?
All right. So Gene, I loved that. I really liked how you started with the bringing Rob back to what he had said previously, bringing in the themes like basketball that he had brought out. I also really liked that you found holes in a loving way by you just asking broad questions of you asking how he was approaching his business and if he knew his numbers. You very lovingly and gently found holes in his business that created a gap between where he is now and where he wanted to go. Where I thought you could use some improvement is what you do sounds really hard. So when you say things like, I've got to know every little detail of your business and your whole org chart. Now this sounds like this really big process that scares me as a possible client. What I really want Gene to tell me is great. I've done this 1,000 times. I mean, we're going to have to get to know your org chart, but I mean, I know exactly how to work with teams like yours, and I know what buttons to push, and it's going to require a lot of time for me, but my job is to honor what you suggested as staying as the coach that's on the sidelines and me empowering you to be the best head coach possible. So I thought you could have framed it as being you being the magician rather than how hard this was going to have to be to get there. I gave you a 7 out of 10.
Well, thank you. Alexia, how are you?
Good feedback, by the way. Good
Okay.
feedback. Thank you.
I love Ryan's thoughts.
About the Real Raw.
It's been amazing. I have to say, I'm learning so much. I'm like taking notes. I'm even using I'm going to be stealing some buzzwords here from you guys and some like cool little lines into my own sales pitches.
They're all trademarked. You got to be careful with mine.
Right. I know, Mike. I knew you were going to catch me on that, but it's all good. Of course. So yeah, let me begin with Mike. I really loved being somebody in the movies. I really love that you led with the mindset and you led with talking on an emotional connection with Rob about being the process and not the product, and how you use the crafting the story, trusting for the potential client to trust him more so that they could release the funds, which I really, really love that, and how you were able to put in the COVID-19 so that he could relate to it, because obviously it's harder to get money from people right now during those times. So I thought that was really, really good. I love that you offered in there, and I caught that you offered a product that has longevity for him so that he can actually use it. I love the whole idea of doing a video for it so that he can actually replay on the conversation and potentially have ideas and brainstorming. I actually disagree on the basketball metaphor. I actually love that because you brought it full circle with Rob saying that he was a fan of basketball. So you brought back right in the connection. So to tie in with his emotional thought process on the basketball. So I actually disagree a little bit with my other critique of my other judge. I actually thought that was really good. But then again, I'm a movie person, so I think in images. And so I would give you a 10. I have really no critique to give you on this one.
Thank you.
So I would give you a full on 10.
Rare moment in the Real Raw. That might be the
Pitter
third.
patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter.
Third 10. Amazing. What'd you have? Amazing. What'd you have for Gene?
Okay, so Gene, again, I'm a person who's drawn by emotion. I actually really like your no bullshit analytical approach. I have to say the thing that stood out, like Sean said, is when you said, are you wanting to train more or are you wanting to grow? I know that I'm somebody that always wants to be stuck in training mode sometimes, and I forget that I need to grow. So I really like that you said that. And I also like that you went and talked about looking at his website, finding some of the flaws in it and offering some instant solutions that you may have for him that he can run with it immediately. So I actually like that. The only thing that I caught, again, on the emotional connection is when Rob actually asked you again about sports, and he asked you if you were into sports. And I remember that Sean asked you that question about your background in sports. And I feel you could have run with it. You kind of just said, yeah, were you into sports? And then you said, yeah. And then you kind of went back into the sale. I think that was an opening for you emotionally to maybe bring in a little bit of your own passion for sports that would create the connection with Rob. So that would be my only critique, but I would upgrade your score to 9 from 8.5. So that's, yeah.
So Alexi, real quick, what's a yes that you're seeking in the world? Thank you so much for being here today. What's a yes that you're seeking in the world, and how would people find you?
Oh my goodness, what is a yes that I'm seeking in the world? I just created a podcast, The Heart of Show Business, and really I am, branding my whole body of 30 years in the business. And I'm going to be launching masterclasses, masterminds for artists, inspirational, and then creating branded content on my YouTube channel just to inspire and get the artists to believe in themselves and follow my journey. It has been from scratches, from nothing, and becoming a very successful self-made woman in a man's world in Hollywood. So that's my yes.
Extraordinary. Well, thank you for that. And Ryan, how about yourself, brother? What's a yes you're seeking? How do people find you?
What was that? Is that me, Sean?
I was asking Ryan if Ryan's.
Oh, sorry about that.
Is Ryan muted? Did we lose Ryan? All right. How about, so let's go to Gene and Mike then. Gene, thank you so much for everything today. How was your experience, brother?
You know what I love about this is that in sales, there are, many ways of which to skin the cat, and you get a chance to see different, Mike's a very, very successful person at what he does. And, I just getting to hear it in real time is awesome. And then seeing, what people subscribe to. A lot of you all are talking about rapport and emotion, where I'm always dealing with a corporation and a complex seller, usually dealing with a CFO or a right brain person. So it's respect the time, get down to, what needs to be said or heard. And I also know that people will judge you more by the quality of the questions you ask than they will your product knowledge. So in the initial calls, I have a very specific methodology that I follow. It's in my book, The Sales Edge. The Edge is a questioning process that allows me to say, okay, does this person have either really great aspirations, or is it a business owner that is confident enough to know that they're not as good as they should be and they need help? And always when I say, look, most people come to me because of sales training. They believe that sales training is the answer. And I've been doing this for 30 years. Sales training can help, but sales training by itself does not drive the outcome you want, which is growth. So I shift their brain from more sales training, better sales training, to sales training with metrics and accountability and measurements with the right marketing weapons is what's required for companies to grow.
Love to hear. And how do people
I always have to reframe. And in that reframe, like a lot of you are like, oh shit, that's so good. I never thought of that. But that's the truth. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Beautiful reframe. How do people find you, Gene, in the world?
Well, you can download a free chapter of my book at thesalesedge.co, not .com, .co, thesalesedge.co. Get a chapter, and the chapter is how to run the perfect first meeting. Now, normally you're going to have more than 3 minutes to run your first meeting. And if somebody's like, if Rob's trying to push me off the call and try to have this positioning, then and Mike, I'd like to get your feedback on it. The harder somebody is to sell, usually that means the more difficult of a customer they are to be. And, I've gotten to the point in my career now where I'm not in the convincing world. People have gotten to me because they've seen something, they've been referred. And if I ever get to when I get to that second call, they've already gotten a whole bio sheet. They've probably gotten 2 videos. They've probably gotten a testimonial list or a case study list. So I use those vehicles for the positioning, but that's just, I've been doing this for 30 years. So
Amen, brother. Well, did a beautiful.
That's how big deals go down.
I agree completely with what you're saying, Gene. Absolutely.
And Mike, so how about yourself? How was this experience for you today? And if somebody said, hey, should I go on that thing? What say you?
All right. So first of all, I love Unblinded. This has been a great experience. I learned a lot. It's great to have that real-time feedback and also be under the gun with time, which we always are, but not like this, not in a competitive game showy environment. And I know Gene, and when I found out it was him, I was like, oh my God, I'm toast, and I wasn't approaching this from a competitive, I have to win, but I was genuinely thrown off because he is a master, and I've known him for a long time, and I also know him in the context of the Tony world, which I spent quite a bit of time working with Tony also in the doing some digital marketing with them and a product. So I would just say for anyone, if you get a chance to do this, you're going to walk away transformed and have a new experience. You're going to feel elevated, and you're with elevated people. And this is a great way to hone the sword, no matter how scared you might be walking into it.
Mike, thank you. And also the power, hopefully, to connect with other cool folks.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Great job, everybody.
Vulnerability. Appreciate it. As we take it home, Bob Gill, 10 seconds. How was this experience, brother? Come a long way, eh?
Experience was phenomenal. Surrounded by, no doubt about it, a level of sales that I'm not used to seeing on a daily basis, and it makes me want to level up even more.
Awesome. Hey, this is Real Raw. Thank you so much, Mike, Gene, Ryan, Alexia, Rob, Vivian, Fernando. Thank you. Have a beautiful day, guys. Take care.
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Awesome job.